Hello there, I hope you're having a wonderful day today, and welcome to this video where we're going to be talking about how learning styles impact academic success. We'll be kind of delving into what learning styles are and how they can influence whether you do well in school or maybe struggle a little bit. So stay tuned for that. We're going to begin by talking about what the major type of learning strategies or styles are. Then we're going to be talking about how education can begin to enhance all of those different learning styles. And that will lead us right into why developing all of them is beneficial for your academic development. Fourth, we're going to be talking about this classical education that was grammar, logic, rhetoric, and how those play into learning styles and whether those are really conducive for all learning styles and what we can do about that. And last, we are going to look at the kind of real world applications for schools and parents on developing and utilizing learning styles to enhance overall academic performance. There are three main learning modalities, learning styles that we talk about in education. One is visual, second is auditory, third is kinesthetic. So it's those kinesthetic learners are the ones that need to do things, right? They need to manipulate objects. They're the ones who like to take engines apart and rebuild it. They like to dance and move and be involved in athletics. Those are your kinesthetic learners. Your auditory learners are the ones who really like music, and they can listen to a lecture and they can hear things and process and remember it much better through that modality. Visual learners are the ones they love to have the graphic organizers. They love to see the visual images. They love to watch the videos. They learn best through seeing. All three of those modalities people utilize, but the predominant one is like your main way of learning. If you're a visual learner, that's your main way of processing information. Auditory is through the hearing, and kinesthetic is through doing, etc. So as I just said, each of those we all utilize, but we don't all utilize those to the same degree. So a well-rounded education is going to help you develop all of those. Now, in a traditional classroom setting, probably the most difficult to really incorporate is this kinesthetic mode. And if you think about some of the subject matters, right? And being in education, we hear our teachers being told all the time, oh, let's do a hands-on activity, hands-on activity, hands-on activity. Well, there's lots of academic thinking skills that aren't hands-on, right? It's not the same to be able to write notes down, to create a graphic organizer by drawing it out on your hand with your hand. It's not truly what we're talking about when we're talking about kinesthetic learning. All right, so kinesthetic can be the hardest in some of the traditional academic subjects. Regardless, though, we can look for opportunities where they can take what we're learning and apply it by doing it. All right, you can actually, in some of the language arts classes, get acting things out, right? You can act out stories. You can act out some of the reading things, which can really help engage students kinesthetically. So there are some ways that you can do this, and you need to be conscious of trying to do as many as you can. Same with auditory, same with visual, right? You're trying to do as much as you can of each, even though some subjects are just, a lot of the work, a lot of the skill development is much geared either towards visual or auditory than it is the kinesthetic. So if you want to really think about being a well-rounded person with the ability to learn so many different things or areas, then you would want to be able to develop each of those modalities, right? So if you can really enhance your ability to listen well and auditory learning, then all of a sudden now you open up a new world, or like maybe listening to books on tape as you drive to work, listening to some lectures on some subject that you need to learn while riding to work. So you enhance your ability to do that. When you develop the kinesthetic thing, you enhance your ability to learn things like sports or dance, or even being able to take something apart and tinker with something at home that you need to fix, right? When you develop that ability to kind of do things kinesthetically and visually, same thing. When you develop that modality, it enhances your overall ability to learn in different environments and different learning opportunities. So inevitably, hopefully all of us want to grow as learners or as human beings, and the more we can do different things well, the more skilled, the more valuable we become. So when you think about traditional education and traditional classical education, that was really the case for a long time. We're working on our language development. That's that grammar. This is why elementary schools used to be called grammar schools. Now, grammar, language-based stuff, is a lot of writing, right? A lot of reading. There's that visual component that's huge in that. But you can enhance the auditory of that through reading out loud, through conversations and discussions. You can do kinesthetic work by you can make some games out of things. Do even things like charades that can help develop language space where you're still moving, manipulating sentences with breaking it up into little pieces and actually having them move the words and the letters around physically to rearrange and remake sentences. So you're developing the language development, but you're also working on different aspects of visual and kinesthetic at the same time. There's different ways you can do that with each of those: grammar, logic, and rhetoric. And it's up to parents and teachers to kind of get creative and think outside the box in order to give opportunities in each area for the child to develop. So schools, modern day schools, are doing better at helping teach the different modalities, right? So things like math manipulatives are designed to help the kinesthetic student, trying to get them to be able to move and act things out during like a language arts class or things like that. You're beginning to see more and more conversations between groups so they can access the auditory communication. All this is something that is being taught to educators and being brought into the classroom at a greater and greater level. And that's all good things. And parents can just continue to support that. And if you homeschool, it is to try to help your child develop those different modalities as well. There are certain things that self-discipline around being able to read, write, problem solve, do those things are really valuable skills that need to be taught and need to be practiced. Beyond that, though, you can, if they're still having a hard time grasping something, that's where maybe pulling in some of the kinesthetic or having that conversation and that dialogue and having them teach you orally, right? Teach you by showing you can be a really valuable tool in order to help spread those different learning modalities. Hopefully you've got something of value out of this video. This is why we create these videos for you. And if you did, I would encourage you to subscribe, because we have lots of different videos covering all kinds of different subjects. And you might be particularly interested in the video, how to use sports help academic achievement. That video you can check out today, and you might even want to check out our podcast as well.